Welcome to the ToolShed, the influential podcast for anyone and everyone involved in the building industry. Here's your host, Mick Hawes.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the ToolShed podcast. As you're probably aware, if this isn't the first time you've watched/listened to the ToolShed podcast, we're always looking for people and platforms and tools and ideas and philosophies that can help make a building business more effective, more enjoyable, more profitable, easier, simpler, and take away the unnecessary pain that many builders experience, or any small business owner really, but we're talking to builders. And one of the questions that is always asked, particularly in the ToolShed environment, is what sort of builder software do you use? What software, what platform do you use for this, that, or the other? So we're always trying to answer that question and give you as many options and clarity as what might work best for you as possible. And in this episode, I'm going to be speaking to Emily Ossington, and we're going to be learning all about a platform called Next Minute. So welcome to the show, Emily. Firstly, we're going to get into Next Minute in a minute, but I'd just like to hear a little bit about your backstory, because I'm always fascinated as to how people ended up where they end up. Like, why did you end up doing this? I ended up being a business coach, and it's a bizarre story, and it was all by accident. But how did you get to where you are with Next Minute?
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. So I worked in a bookkeeping and accounting firm about 10, 15 years ago. And it was at the point when all of this cloud disruption was happening. So the bookkeeping firm I worked for was kind of ahead of the curve and adopted Xero very early on when it was first released in Australia. And we transitioned all our clients across into Xero, and then we started to look into the different add-ons and such to help streamline just general businesses, not necessarily trade and construction. And then that bookkeeping firm was acquired by an accounting firm that was all still desktop-based, and we were brought in to essentially be like the digital or cloud experts that help transition clients across. So in that role, I'm not an accountant or a bookkeeper. I sat in the customer service side of things, but in that role, I was exposed to a lot of software, and I knew that there was a bit of a gap in the market when it came to trade and construction clients. In the residential space specifically. So there's lots of products available, and they all have very target audiences. But I knew that with the residential builders, there was a little bit of a gap, and there was a bit of a gap as well between software that supported the trade businesses, but also supported their accountants and bookkeepers and other stakeholders who support those types of businesses. And then I was introduced to Next Minute by one of the board members, and that led me to kind of look into this role a little bit more in the partnership space. And when I was looking into the product, I saw some really cool features that I knew some of the competitors didn't offer, just from that experience I had outside or in previous jobs looking at software. So I was really intrigued by that, and I just saw a huge benefit to trade and construction businesses, and it piqued my interest. So that's how I kind of ended up here.
Yeah, wonderful. As I said in the introduction, we talk a lot about different platforms that builders use to run their businesses, and there always seems to be the comment that people can't find the one that does everything that they want it to. But there's always something that captures people's attention and gets them to look deeper and go, yeah, that's going to work for me. So in your introduction there, you mentioned that there were things that you found that weren't being done by the competition. So can you just unpack some of those features, some of those functions, and perhaps help us understand the benefit from the builder's point of view with those features and functions?
Sure. So with Next Minute, one of the main things is we service the residential construction space. So there's lots of products who who service field service type businesses. So you've got like Traderfy and ServiceMate that a lot of people have heard of. They've got really good brand awareness, especially in Australia. They are excellent for like plumbers and electricians who are jumping from job to job and doing multiple jobs throughout the day. And then on the flip side, you've got brands like Build Exact or Builder Trend who are really great for bigger commercial type businesses. And they also play in the residential construction space, but their price point is probably a little bit more expensive and starts to suit that larger end of town. So one of the things that really stood out to me with Next Minute was it targets the residential construction space. So if you personally were having your house renovated or having a house built, all of those trade and construction businesses that need to come together to get that project completed. And it might go for, 6 weeks to 6 months, up to a year, but probably not much longer than that. So Next Minute had really defined who their audience was, and I knew that there was a bit of a gap in the market around that. And then specific features, there's a mobile app that works on both Android and iOS devices. So that was a big standout to me because I know that some only do one, some don't do any. And then also we have two-way integration with the accounting software, which was, with my background in accounting and bookkeeping, was kind of the deal breaker for me, where I went, oh, that's pretty cool. So one of the main ones is when you have your supplier bills or you make a purchase with, let's say Bunnings, for example, the bill would go into your accounting software, and then Next Minute pulls that into our product, and so you can allocate it to the job or project with a markup or margin assigned to it, so you don't have to double enter any of that information.
Well, so that's that's a major time saver right there. I know I was watching a video or two around Next Minute, and can't remember the fella's name, but he was on site and walking around with his iPad and all of this sort of stuff around his van. And he was talking about digital timesheets, and I'm assuming that there's like a two-way communication between the boss and the team as well. So just run us through the how this works with, say, you're a builder, you've probably got some direct employees, some carpenters or what have you working, but you probably got some subcontractors as well. So can you help us understand whether it just works with your own directly employed team, or can you have subbies involved in it and so forth? Because it sounds like, from what I saw, it was pretty cool that the job could be sent out to the person, and then they receive it, and then the clock starts. So it was a really simple and effortless way to keep abreast of how long things were taking.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can do both. It's probably more so designed to have your own team set up, and then your employees would be able to enter their timesheets directly from the mobile app. So like when you set up a job, they get sent a push notification into the mobile app that they receive on their phone that says, hey, you've been allocated to, job at 123, I don't know, Builder Street.
Yep.
And so they know where they have to go at what time. They also know what the job description is. You can set tasks that then tell them on a kind of more minute detail, what needs to happen at what day. So, like demolition needs to happen, or pouring concrete is going to be happening at this time, or the painters are coming in. So everyone can kind of see the schedule that needs to be worked on. And then when they start a task or they get to the job site, they can just press start on the timer. That will start the timer for them to record their timesheets. Or if you're like me and you always forget to turn the timer off, it's probably not the best option. You can manually enter your time at the end of the day when you're clocking out. And you can put a note in that says, I worked on X, Y, and Z on the job site today. There's the ability to be able to take photos within the job. So you can take some before and after photos to show what you've done as well. And it all sits against the job card so that everyone in the business can access that information. If you are working with contractors, you can do the same thing. So you can invite your contractors into the job cards. They would only see what you would allow them access to see.
Yep.
And then if they're invoicing you for their time, you would follow the example I kind of mentioned before, where you get the invoice, you send it into your accounting software, and then we'll pull it back into Next Minute to allocate that as labor time against the job. Or if you want them to timesheet, they could timesheet within the app, and then you pay them for the time that they've worked, just depending how you run your business. So you've got both options. With the contractors, you can turn users on and off. So if you had a contractor working for the next 6 weeks and then they're going to be going off to run their own business or another job, for that 6-week period, you would pay for their access while they're using the product. And then once they go and work on something else and they've left that project, then you just disable their access until the next time you work with them again.
Okay, and the payment stops for them at that stage.
Yeah.
I also noticed that it does quoting, so you can put your proposals together inside the platform. Where does the pricing come from? This is a question I ask all of the time, because to me it's like really important that you're pulling in accurate data as far as pricing is concerned, sort of up to the minute data, so you're not underquoting and things like that. So how does that work in this platform? Where does that pricing come from?
So we would pull in price lists. They can be uploaded via an Excel spreadsheet. So generally what we'll say to most of our new clients who come on board is, if they have trade accounts with their preferred suppliers, if they're able to get some kind of Excel spreadsheet from them of all the recent purchases or purchases over the last 12 months that they've made, we can import that into Next Minute via a CSV file. We'll do the imports for you because we know that tradies don't love playing in Excel spreadsheets. So we're more than happy to do that on their behalf.
Yeah.
And then it would just need to be updated regularly if there was price increases, which is not the most effective solution. In New Zealand, we do have a direct connection with placemakers, and that's something that we're looking into kind of doing more in Australia, but it's a bit of a pipe dream at this stage.
Yeah. So the conversations or the communications with the user. So if I'm a builder and I jump into Next Minute, how do I learn how to use the platform? What sort of level of communication do I get? Who do I talk to? How do they help me? What's that experience all look like with Next Minute?
Awesome. We actually are really, really proud of our customer service at Next Minute. You can jump onto like Google or Zero Marketplace or the app stores and read our reviews, and all of them will mention that our customer service is above and beyond. So in saying that, we do make sure it's in our best interest to make sure that any new customer or user that comes on board has the best experience and implements the product really quickly, just as much as it's in their best interest. So we do want to work together. We have a customer success team who will help come up with like a time frame and an implementation plan so that it suits your business specifically, because everyone's kind of goals and what they want to achieve from using a platform is very different. Some people want to get their house in order. Some people want to, just have their timesheets recorded better. Some people want to be able to invoice better. So depending on what your goal is, depends on what the implementation plan will look like. So it's fully customized. And that process is inclusive of your subscription fee. So we don't charge additional for training and support. We will give you as much support as you need or as little as you want. If you don't want us contacting you regularly, that's fine. And in terms of like learning the product, the desktop version looks a little bit more overwhelming than the mobile app. But the way that we like to kind of put it is, if you can use Sportsbet to put a multi on the football.
Well, I don't know how to do that, but anyway.
I'm sure a lot of your clients would know how to, though, or a lot of the listeners would learn how to. But it's pretty simple. Like, you open up the app, you'll see timesheets. You can probably safely assume if you want to enter a timesheet, you press the timesheet button. If you want to look at your tasks, you press the task button. It's pretty straightforward to learn how to use the mobile app, which is what probably most of our users are using on a day-to-day basis. And then in terms of getting down to the nitty-gritty stuff, we'll provide all the training that you need.
Yeah. And as far as like the two-way communication there is concerned, I know I've had conversations with our builders in Builders Business Black Belt, where they've jumped onto a platform because they thought it was all whiz bang and it was wonderful. And they were asking, well, could we do this, or could have this added? And more often than not, they're quite disappointed with the response they get. They don't get listened to.
Mm.
What's your guys' philosophy on this, being able to gather the information from the users and being able to refine the user interface or the functionality of Next Minute?
It's really important to us that we know what our customers want and need. We wouldn't have a successful product without listening to our client base. Or we also have like a partner program. So if you've got, you're a business owner, you've got an accountant or a bookkeeper or a business coach or anyone else who is helping you run your business, we want their feedback as well. And we want to be able to work all together, because we understand that, for builders, they go and learn their trade, but they don't learn how to use a computer. They don't learn how to run a business. So they have other people working with them to do that. And it's in everyone's best interest that we've got products that work really well. So for us, the way it kind of works is, if you've got feedback about the product or a feature request, always tell whoever your account manager is or whoever you've got contact details for in the business, whether it's the CEO or, our support person. Flick us an email with your request or give us a call and let us know what they are. And we will make note of those, so we keep a record of every feature request that comes in. And then if it's something that's commonly requested, we add votes to it, so we can then see what's got the most votes. Whatever's going to suit our majority of our client base kind of gets pushed up the food chain.
Yep.
And then if there's smaller things where we go, that's a really good idea, but it's only going to suit one person, we start to look at it from, well, is it something that's affecting the way the product works? Because then it could kind of be like a bug or something that's not been designed quite right. So do we need to think about redesigning it? And that could be something that gets pushed out really quickly, because it's going to, overlap with the development of another feature in the future. So overall, it's kind of, the loudest voice or the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if you've got requests, send them through, because we want to know.
Yeah. One thing that I'm a big fan of, some businesses have it, some businesses don't, and that is a community where the users can, share stories with each other or ask questions with each other, rather than speaking directly with the company, because just sometimes they don't do that, and you can be inspired by other people's stories and how they've used it and the wins they've had by using the platform. Is there something like that exists? I know you've got a knowledge base, but I assume that's where you can learn how to use the product better. But is there such a thing as a community?
Yeah. So the knowledge base is like our online encyclopedia of how to use the product. So it's all kind of pre-written articles and videos, which is managed by us internally.
Yeah.
In terms of a community, we do have one, but it's only quite small and it's just starting out. So it's something we introduced. And then it kind of didn't get a lot of traction. So it is there. We would love people to jump in and join. It's called the Tradie Smoko. It's a Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about the product. It's somewhere that you can go and put some, memes up, have a laugh, just have a chat with people. It is very much that community feel, and that's what it's designed to be. But if you've got product questions or, feedback or requests, and you want to talk to someone outside of, our staff, you want to talk to someone else who maybe has an experience that's similar to yours, that would be the place to go and do it.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm a builder, interested in taking a look at Next Minute. What can I expect? What's the experience that I'm going to have? What are my first steps to do this? What are the steps to get involved?
Great question. So go on the website, nextminute.com, book a meeting with one of our either Matt or AK. You'll get one of the two. It's not a meeting. We actually don't like calling it a meeting. It sounds really dull and boring when referred to that way. But book a little chat with them, or if you're on Smoko,
yeah,
box talk, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we try and do a discovery call first. So that will be about 10-15 minutes where we just want to understand what it is you're looking for. Are we going to be the right fit before we go down this whole long-winded path of an hour-long demo and showing you features and all that stuff? The first and foremost thing is, what are you looking for? Why are you looking for a product? And then we can establish, right, it sounds like Next Minute could be the right product for you, or very early on we can say, actually, we don't think we are, we'll recommend you to a different product.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. And then from there, it's really however much time you're willing to invest. So obviously, the more time you invest up front, the better you're going to get implemented with the product. We will let you trial the product for as long as you kind of need to. So if you want to have a test run for a week and just see how it goes while you're on the job site, you're welcome to do so. And then our team will help get you trained and onboarded, and as much of the setup as we can do, we'll help you with.
Yeah, perfect. I know that on the website it says that the platform is for builders and for tradies, and a
Mhm.
trades-based business like a plumber or electrician operates quite differently to a builder.
Yes.
Are there different functionalities for both, or do both tradies and builders use the exact same platform? Because again, watching the video, the chappie in the video was sort of punching out a quote and banging it through, and then invoice and getting paid and all that sort of stuff. To me, that sounds a little bit more like an electrician slash, plumber trade space where they're going in and doing lots of smaller jobs versus a builder doing a 3, 6, 9, 12-month project. Are the platforms modified at all for builders versus tradies, or you just take out of it what you need?
Yeah, so you just take out of it what you need. So there's not different versions of the product. It's just one product. There is features in there that will suit more of the tradie type businesses. So you can do like start stop timers on your timesheets. You can set up recurring tasks if you're like a landscaper who goes and does lawn mowing as well.
Mm.
Things like that. It does have the capabilities to suit those types of businesses. But it's probably better suited to anyone who works in the residential construction space. So you could be a plumber and electrician, but you could be doing just, kitchen fit outs or bathroom renovations, for example, where it's part of a bigger project rather than like handyman type services. If you're working with real estate agents and going from job to job throughout the day, we're probably not the best product for that. But if you are coming in and working on part of a project, we could be very suitable for you.
Yeah.
So again, like we would help you understand in that discovery call if we think we would be the best product for you. And if not, if you're more in that tradie space and you are doing more of those smaller jobs, we might say, you know what, we're not the right product. Go and look at, ServiceMate or Tradeify or one of the other products out there. But then if you go, well, we do a bit of both and we're kind of a mix and we've got a bit of everything going on, we very much could be the right product for you because we've got the functionality to do both sides of it.
Yeah. And just a final question about the user interface, the ease of it and all that sort of stuff, because there are, some old dogs out there that are a bit technophobic and they're all, this newfangled computer stuff, and I know that we've got a lot of young fellas in builders business black belt, and they just take to all of this technology like crazy and teach me stuff every day. How do you find it with the more mature builders, let's say, that have been around a while? Are they jumping in? Can they use it with confidence? What do you find?
Yeah, so I've got a funny anecdote actually. We went to the Bunnings trade show in Sydney last week, like before. So we had a stand there, and an older guy came up and he was like, well, tell me how you compete with my good old pen and paper. And we were like, well, I guess maybe you're not the right target audience for us. And he said to us, we're like, what if you lose your book? And he goes, nah, just won't happen. We're like, well, okay, well, we probably can't compete with that. But yeah, look, in terms of the product itself, it can be a little bit complicated and a bit daunting for someone who's not, that into tech or not that familiar with it.
Yeah.
We will support you. That's the biggest thing. We will
Yes.
hold your hand through it to make sure that you are getting the best from it, because again, it's in our best interest to make sure that our clients are seeing success with using the product. We don't want bad reviews out there. We don't want people thinking that the product's crappy. Like, we will help you. And if it's just a matter of like you want to do one thing at a time, like you just want to get your timesheet sorted because you got pieces of paper floating around everywhere, we could just do that one thing with you for 3 months until you're ready to implement the next stage. So we'll fully tailor that approach to try and help you get the best from it. And at the end of the day as well, for, some of the older builders out there, one of the things that we do see, well, we hear good feedback. A lot of people, very rarely do we hear people going, I just couldn't use the product. It was too hard. 99% of the time people love it and find it a lot easier. But for the older builders, some of the things we do here is that they're looking for a bit of a succession plan. So they're getting to the point where they're thinking about retirement. It's going to be easier to sell a business that's got everything in one spot, that's all electronic, that can be passed on to the next generation who wants to use these products anyway, because once you go, they're probably just going to come in and implement them. So think about, what are you doing with your business when you're on your way out? It's probably in your best interest to make sure that your admin's up to date just as much as your licenses and green cards and whatever else you need.
Absolutely. It makes a business far more attractive to a buyer when it's got systems and processes that's been proved over and over. Emily, just wanted to thank you for putting the time aside to chat with us and share with us the platform of Next Minute. It really does seem like a terrific platform, quite simple, easy to use, and has a whole lot of features and benefits, specifically because it is targeted to the residential builder rather than the whole construction industry, and you end up having a whole lot of features and buttons and things that you don't really use in the residential space. So it's good to hear about that. So thank you very much for being on the show. It's been wonderful.
No, thank you. That was great.
So there you go, folks. Have a look at Next Minute. There will be a link in the description. It's nextminute.com/au, not .com.au. But we'll put the link in the description anyway, so you won't even have to worry about that. You just click it and off you go. And you can do a free trial. You can book a demo. You can do all those sorts of things. You can have a look at the testimonials and a few videos as to how it works to see whether it'll be the right fit for you. But I really encourage everybody to try these things. We don't know until we try. There's a lot of options out there, and you need to find the one that works for you. And as Emily said, you have a conversation. It's a bit of a discovery session. You find out whether this is the right one for you before you take the next step. And you can take it for a test drive around the block before you invest your dough anyway. So it's all good. There's no risk. Go and have a look at it. I hope this episode was a little stimulating with the old thought processes and thinking I could be doing a little bit better. Reach out, get some help. So we'll be back with another episode of the ToolShed podcast. Before you know it, I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt. That is all. I'm out. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the ToolShed. If this podcast struck a chord with you, make sure you spread the word by sharing it with your mates in the building industry. We'd love your help to make the building industry better for everyone involved.